Expert Secrets, the underground playbook for converting your online visitors into lifelong customers. This book is fantastic. So the content inside of this book teaches you everything you need to do to become the expert that your audience and your customers need you to be able to trust you and buy from you for a lifetime. The ideas inside of here don't just talk about how to scammily get people to buy things once, but it talks about how to become the trusted guide that your people need to not just follow you and not just purchase from you, but to really become like what Kevin Kelly calls 1,000 true fans. Some of the frameworks inside of here are talking about how to build great offers, how to build an ecosystem of content and of ideas that lead people down a funnel, not just of a sales funnel, but of an idea funnel, where if they believe this idea, then you got to get them to believe this idea, then you got to teach them this idea. And it teaches you how to tell stories that move people through those different levels. Russell actually calls it the epiphany bridge in here. One specific chapter that I want to highlight is on the perfect webinar template. This perfect webinar template Russell used at 10X conference, which is Grant Cardone's event. Say what you want about Grant Cardone. I know he's very controversial of a figure, but he knows how to put together a business event with Michael Jordan and Kevin Hart and all these people. And Russell was one of the speakers at one of the conferences. And in that conference, Russell, he told Grant Cardone, he said, hey, I need to be, I will charge you $1 million to speak at that event, but it doesn't have to come from you. We can sell something at the end of my talk to make $1 million in one speech in 1 hour. And the content that Russell gave at the talk to make that $1 million was what he calls the perfect webinar framework. And the perfect webinar framework, basically, it's 5 to 10 minutes of introducing yourself, teaching people why you're a credible person to listen to, tell some stories about your epiphany bridge story where you were struggling with the thing that you're teaching them today, and then how you came to figure out what that strategy is and why everybody needs to follow it. And then you spend 10 minutes each breaking down core ideas or limiting beliefs that they have to be able to eventually purchase your thing at the end of the webinar. And then the last 15 minutes of the talk of the perfect webinar is selling your offer or your idea using a strategy called the stack, which he teaches through in Expert Secrets. And the stack is a really cool way of presenting an offer where you present one thing, show the total, present another thing, show the total offer plus that thing, and then present another thing, and then show all 3 things, present another thing that you're offering to sell, and then it shows all 4 things. This book is fantastic. And for the price of admission alone of the perfect webinar framework that he teaches in here, that is worth paying for the book, reading it, investing all the hours, all the time, all the money. You can actually see that inside of this book, I have a bunch of pages printed out from his perfect webinar teaching, because I also bought the teaching because it was that good and it was that necessary. Oh, another thing that is really important is how he teaches you how to teach in frameworks, where an idea is valuable, but a framework is 10 times more valuable. So if, let's say there's an idea around growing your email list, and the idea is that you need to create a lead magnet that's valuable, and then you need to get that lead magnet in front of people. That's a good idea, but it's not like an easily downloadable framework that people can buy and can believe in. Where what I've done is I've turned that build a lead magnet to grow your email list idea into a framework that I call the CTA framework, where it's create a lead magnet that's so good that people can't help but tell their friends about it. You test that lead magnet until the landing page converts at 40% or higher with warm traffic, and then you amplify it to the world. So you amplify a 40% converting landing page to as many people as you possibly can. And that's the CTA framework. So do you notice how the value that is communicated in the CTA framework is so much more than just build a lead magnet and get it in front of people? It's teaching in frameworks versus teaching in ideas. And one of the core ideas in Expert Secrets is that experts have frameworks that their audience come to know, and then they connect the frameworks with that audience. So Alex Hormozy, one of his frameworks is what he teaches in $100 million leads, where it's the core 4 advertising strategies. For me, one of the most valuable things I've learned in the last 6 months is the core 4 that Alex Hormozy teaches in that book. One of the best ways to grow as an expert in your audience's mind is to teach those frameworks, like what Alex teaches in $100 million leads, Russell teaches in the perfect webinar framework, or I teach in the CTA framework. So this book, if you're trying to build an audience at all, or if you're trying to build trust with people, even if it's like a team at work, if you're trying to build trust as an expert, this book is a must read. Buy it, read it, study it. This is one of Alex Hormozy's 10 books that have impacted his life the most and that he's studied the most. So that's 2 endorsements that are absolutely worth listening to. So I would recommend that you take a moment, read this book. I believe you can get it at expertsecrets.com for free. You just have to pay for shipping, which I think is like $11. So again, get this book, buy it, learn from Russell. He's a genius. And yeah, just lean in and get this book. All right, I'll see you next week.